They don't do episiotomies. Is that what it's called? Where they cut ya? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another pregnancy update. Today's update is weeks 25 and 26. So if you want to find out the latest and greatest about my pregnancy, then just keep watching. So as I always do, I'll start this video off telling you a little bit about the size of the baby and some of the changes that have been happening over the last few weeks in terms of his growth. So in week 25, baby was the size of a cauliflower, 13.5 inches and approximately 1.46 pounds. And then going into week 26, he grew to the size of a kale, which seems a head of kale, which seems really massive. I feel like some of these vegetables can go so many different sizes. Like a head of kale could be huge. But this says a head of kale is about 14 inches and 1.68 pounds. And in week 26, baby's eyes are forming and they're going to start opening soon. Eyelashes have grown in and the baby is getting his immune system ready for life on the outside by soaking up antibodies. He's also taking breaths of amniotic fluid. So on to my symptoms. According to the app, it's been a lot of the same as to saying what to expect, like heartburn, gas and bloating, overall aches, trouble sleeping, headaches, swelling, Braxton Hicks contractions. I haven't had all of those. I haven't really had headaches. I haven't had swelling at all so far, which is nice, and definitely still with the aches and pains. Like I said last time, I'm having a lot more trouble sleeping because things are hurting a lot more. In terms of aches and pains, a symptom I've had the last 2 weeks more so than before is pain specifically in my right ribs, mostly on the back side. My ribs on the right side hurt all the time now, especially when I'm sitting. It's like things are just squished in there, and my right ribs, especially on the back, are really painful. I don't know why, if his feet are up in there or what it is, but the rib pain is definitely becoming real in the last few weeks, along with the back pain I've always had and other aches and pains. Those are pretty much the same. I have had a couple other new symptoms. One I actually had and forgot to mention in the last video, and that is tingling hands, which apparently is a pregnancy thing. It's like has to do with the nerves and circulation and whatnot. It doesn't happen every day, and it seems to have gotten a little bit better, but sometimes my hands feel tingly and numb, kind of like, not numb, but kind of like they're falling asleep. So I've had that, and then I think just circulation in general has kind of been a little wonky. Like I've noticed that like my feet and my legs tend to fall asleep a lot more easily than they have before pregnancy. And then speaking of legs, another random symptom that I did have, but it's gone now, maybe it'll come back, I don't know, is I had this weird vibrating sensation in my leg. Again, I think it's just nerves and things being pushed, and I don't really know. It went away. But I did look it up, and it is something that can happen in pregnancy. Basically, it felt like in my left leg, a phone was vibrating on my leg. It would do like 3 pulses and then go away, and then be gone for a few seconds, and then do 3 pulses again and then go away. And it was super consistent, and it lasted for like 3 or 4 days, I want to say. And it was really weird and really annoying, and it felt like there was a phone on my leg, but that's gone. So apparently that was just a short-lived symptom. Other than that, I really don't have anything new. I've noticed that my heartburn has increased with certain foods. I really like spicy food. I normally have no issue with spicy food, but I've noticed now that even things that aren't normally very spicy to me have now been flaring up the heartburn. It's still not terrible. I don't have it on any level like I've heard some women get when they're pregnant, but I've definitely had it a bit and have noticed that spicy food makes it worse. So like I said, that's pretty much it for symptoms. So let's talk about some other things. If you watched my last update, then you'll know that I would have done my gestational diabetes glucose test by this point. So I have done it. If you follow me on Instagram, then you may have seen on my story, I mentioned it. If you didn't watch my last video, a quick recap was I was really, really nervous to do this, and turns out it wasn't bad at all. It was so easy. Like, I feel dumb for how nervous I was about it. I don't know why people have had so many bad experiences. Honestly, I'm wondering if there's different brands of the drink and sometimes they're worse than others, or maybe people's taste buds are just that different. But for me, I'd heard a lot of things about the drink being horrible, making people throw up, like making you feel so sick. And I thought that the drink was totally doable. I wouldn't say it tasted good. Like, I wouldn't want to drink it again for fun. There's something floating here. I wouldn't want to drink it again for fun, but it didn't taste bad at all. I had the option of getting orange or fruit punch, and I'd heard from people that orange is better, so that's the one I went with, and it honestly tasted like orange soda, just without carbonation. My lab had it cold, which the guy was saying that that makes a huge difference, so maybe people that have had bad experiences had it warm. It was cold. It wasn't a big deal. I was mostly worried about drinking it in the time frame because you have to do it in 5 minutes. And I've never been one to like be able to drink things quickly. So that was my biggest concern. It was about the size of like the mini Gatorade bottles, maybe even a little smaller. So I was nervous before I tasted it about doing it in the time, but it was no big deal. I had no problem with it. I drank it in like 2 minutes and it was easy peasy. So anybody who hasn't done the test yet that's scared about it, in my experience, it was so much easier than I thought it would be. And it didn't make me feel sick afterwards. I was nervous because I had to do the 2-hour test, so I had to fast. And I was nervous about having that drink being the only thing in my stomach. I did drink water beforehand and I did bring water with me. Water was fine. I just couldn't have food. And I was worried that like it might make me feel sick after I drank it, but it was fine. I felt nothing. It was totally fine. Probably the worst part about the whole thing was having to fast because I wake up so hungry in the mornings now. And I wound up being there for about 2.5 hours because the way it goes down if you do a 2-hour test, I know there's multiple. Some people start with 1 hour. I don't know why, for whatever reason, my doctor, we start with the 2 hours. So what happens is you go in, you get your blood drawn before the drink, you drink the drink, an hour later you get your blood drawn again, and an hour later you get your blood drawn again. And just the way it worked out with the timing of everything, I wound up being there for about 2.5 hours. So I was definitely very hungry by the time it was over. But that was really the worst part, unless you have problems with needles, because there is a lot of poking. There's supposed to be 3 in the 2-hour test. I actually got poked 4 times because I have very small veins, and she tried to do, so she did the first one on my right arm, which has always been the better arm. I always give people this arm. And then tried to do the second one on the left arm, put the needle in, but wound up losing the vein because the left arm veins are just like non-existent. So she wound up doing all 3 blood draws from the right arm. And then I had the one that didn't work in the left arm. So getting poked isn't that fun, but I don't have a problem with it. So that might be the worst part for you if you are afraid of needles, but again, it really wasn't bad. So I was so pleasantly surprised that that test was easy peasy. The results have come in. This is what I hate about the lab I go to, is that they want your doctor to see the results first. And so there's like an online portal and it says my results are in, but I'm not allowed to view them until tomorrow, which is like 4 days after the results came in. So I still don't know if I passed or not. I'll find out tomorrow. But that's so annoying to me because it's like, it's my blood, it's my test results, but I can't see them until the doctor reviews them. Whatever. I'll let you guys know if I passed. So the other thing I talked about last week that was going to happen in the coming weeks is starting birthing classes. We started those. We've done 2 so far. I think I said it's a 4-week class plus an online, so 5 total sessions. We've done 2 and they're good. I don't know. Ben and I can't really decide how much we like them. I think it's part of the teacher that's teaching them we don't love. She's a little, I don't know, she's a little different. I think we're definitely going to get some great information from the class. We've talked so far about the stages of labor. There's like 4 stages you go through of labor, various kinds of laboring positions, breathing techniques, birthing positions, kind of the basics of birth and labor. One thing I do really like about the class is we are taking it like through the hospital we're delivering at, so she knows a lot of very specific information to our hospital, which was something we opted to do. So we wound up paying for these classes. There were free classes in our area, but we wound up choosing to do the ones that we had to pay for through our hospital because I thought it would be good to know, you know, specific information to our hospital, which wound up being the case, as she's told us a lot of specific information about our hospital. And I've learned a lot about birthing in this hospital that I didn't know. Like, they don't do IVs unless you're getting an epidural or you are like severely dehydrated and need one, but they want you to try to hydrate yourself throughout the labor process because they want you to be able to move around. They don't use forceps. They don't do episiotomies. Is that what it's called? Where they cut ya? They don't do those. This hospital has actually won an award for the number of C-sections they do. So basically, they try to encourage a natural vaginal birth as much as possible. I don't know exactly what the award is, but it's basically that they don't do very many C-sections. So that's great because I definitely want to try to do a vaginal birth if possible. Obviously, if there's complications and a C-section is necessary, then they do that. But I like knowing that it's a hospital that is not going to just try to rush me off to a C-section immediately. They do immediate skin to skin. That's just their protocol, which I think a lot more hospitals are doing that nowadays, but not everybody, I think, does that. And that's something that we wanted. And there's just a lot of things we learned about the hospital, which is great. Our hospital also doesn't really encourage birth plans, which I like because that's kind of the way I was going into my birth. Was I didn't want to go in with a specific birth plan. I'm going in very open-minded to what could happen because I know birth rarely goes to plan. I'm not going in with an opinion one way or another on an epidural. Obviously, I would love to do a natural birth if possible, just because the less medications you bring in, the less risks involved. You know, I would love to be able to do it naturally, but I also know, depending on how the labor is, everyone's very different, that I might need an epidural, and I'm okay with that. So we're going in with the birth plan to be open-minded. That's pretty much our plan. Some things about the class that we don't love. Like I said, we're paying for this class, so I want to really get the most out of the time, and this particular instructor really likes to focus on a lot of meditation and like mindfulness and breathing, which I understand completely in the labor process. Like, that's something I'm very happy to learn. But she likes to spend like a half an hour of the class at the end of the class having the couples lay on the floor together in the dark, where she like talks through a meditation and you kind of just lay there with your eyes closed, not really practicing breathing or anything like that, just laying there. And so that's where Ben and I are kind of like, we're paying money to do this. I don't really want to lay on the floor for a half an hour to do like a meditation. Like, I'm here to learn things. I don't want to just relax. Like, I can lay and relax at home, but it's fine. It's whatever. I don't really have a choice in instructor. It's just who comes with the classes. So overall, they're going pretty good. We have 2 more in-person classes, and then we have the 1 breastfeeding class online. And then one other thing that has happened is we have painted the nursery. So the nursery is fully underway. We're trying to decide if we want to do something about the carpet in that room, because it's not very nice carpet. We might want to replace it. But then once we determine that, whether we do replace it or not, then I'm going to start building the main furniture, because we have the dresser and the crib, and I want to get stuff going in there. So that is officially underway. Okay guys, and that's pretty much it for this update. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Stay tuned to the end because I'll show my belly. I definitely think I've had growth again in that area. It seems to be growing at a rapid rate. And don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye! So here is the belly. P.S. This top is a sneak peek at a video to come. There it is. Oh yeah, my belly button is officially popped out. Like, it's, you can see it through the shirt. I'm so hungry right now. Oh my god. So hungry. Zozo always comes to help film videos, don't you, Zozo? Yeah, hi. That I had my, what am I trying to say? I would have done my gestational, If you didn't watch, hiccups.